Xscape member Latocha Scott is breaking her silence on all of what's been playing out on the show Queens of R&B and what's been playing out on social media. She's addressing her sister's accusations that she stole $30,000 of her royalty money. She's also talking about her issues with Kandi over the years and currently. And of course, she's addressing all of what's being said about her husband, Rocky Bivens. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your #1 source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So last night I saw this video, and this morning I've watched it like 4 times, just to unpack and see what exactly is being said in this new video. So as you know, and I'm gonna give it to Latocha, the editing was funny.
Hell no.
Yes, when Kandi starts coming in from that scene from RHOA when she was singing and when they were doing that little competition, I was just like, ooh.
Even when
It was a funny video, but it was heavily edited when it comes to her addressing the issues that has been playing out on social media. And here's a difference of what we're getting in the Speak On It with Kandi or even her sister Tamika. Her sister Tamika, although her video is edited a little bit, it still feels very natural. And a lot of you have been saying in the video that I did yesterday where Xscape was doing an interview and literally Tamika drops more information as to how exactly did Latocha's husband, Rocky Bivens, allegedly steal her royalty money of $30,000 about 10 years ago.
She put my address in. At the time, I was living in New York. So she put my New York, it was changed to my mom and my sister's address. My sister was living with my mom at that time. They sent the copies of the checks. On the back of the check was a fake handwriting that said my name and my sister's husband's name. It was cash in his account.
wow.
So I like endorsed.
Yeah, see, when we do business,
this is deep.
When we do business, it's times where we have to send over like not fax over, but scan like our passports or so we have on emails all of our information, our social security, all of us are privy to that. And one of the items that was used was my passport. So when they sent me the picture of the passport, I looked at my passport. I had not signed my passport, but the same passport was signed, which was a piece of paper that somebody forged my name that was sent to them to be me. And then some, and they went as far as putting Tamika Scott something at Gmail and was they were communicating with them through a fake Tamika Scott Gmail account.
A lot of you have been saying in the comment section that you really believe Tamika. And some of you really believe now that Latocha is speaking out and speaking on it, she is going to force Tamika's hand. What do you guys think? So, as I said to you before, I watched this video way too many times, but I want to be fair to Latocha and hear her side. I had a conversation with Latocha. The Latocha that I had a conversation with is not the Latocha that we're seeing in this interview or in this conversation. So Latocha addresses 3 main points in this video. And at the top of this, she talks about her issues with her sister. She says that this solo project that she has with Motown was supposed to be a duo project with her sister, a duo gospel album. So I guess this is supposed to be her letting people know that, oh, I wasn't just trying to do a solo album. That was not my intention, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. As I've said before during our recaps and during our coverage of some of the news that's been coming out from this, I don't think the group as a whole, and I don't even think the audience as a whole, has an issue with Latocha doing a solo album. I think the issue is that Latocha is using this show and is acting brand new now that she has this other project. She's also talking about this. So she literally says, I did not steal $30,000 from my sister. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, Latocha, you didn't steal it, but did your husband? Because as I pointed out to you in yesterday's video where Tamika is breaking down, this is how they did it. Latocha's name is not on the back of these checks. Tamika's accusing Rocky of forging her name and also signing these checks as well and depositing it in his account. These checks were sent to Tamika's mother's house, who at the time was also living with Latocha and Rocky. Latocha says in this new video that she did not steal $30,000. And she's saying that, well, if I had stolen $30,000 from you 10 years ago, and then she inserts this video from, I'm guessing this was maybe the baby shower for her niece when Tamika was pregnant, and they were singing and getting along. Here's the thing, Latocha. Literally, Tamika has said consistently, she's got along to get along in order to get her mother's love.
I am the fifth member. How about that?
Did she have issues with you back then? I believe so. And a lot of you that have had issues with your family probably like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that, yeah, you can bring up all kinds of footage where we are together and getting along because I had to. I had to in order to be accepted by the family and not be alienated. So you pointing out this video of her being not upset 10 years ago over the $30,000 that you and your husband allegedly stole doesn't really land for me personally, but I kept an open mind. I said, well, okay. So what exactly are you saying about your sister? Why is your sister lying on you? Why is your sister bringing this up on television 10 years later? So she points that out. She says her first scene with her sister was supposed to be at a church. She says if it was at the church, there would have been none of this fussing that we saw at her mom's house. She says they were supposed to sing a gospel duet at this church. She also points out that editing was incorrect because her first scene was at her mom's house with her sister. The scene that we saw that was so troubling. So she was like, so how are you flashing back to 3 days ago if this is my first scene? So she's pointing out there might be, and look, this would not be the first time. Look, Mona Scott has been accused of all kinds of things with Love and Hip Hop. Andy has been accused of all kinds of things where the timelines are not timelining. However, how are we supposed to believe you, Latocha? Because so far, from this video alone, from history, you're not a credible source. So, was it 3 days ago? We as the audience won't know. Only you and the rest of the group and production would know for fact. So for me, it's sort of like, okay, it could be true. It couldn't be true. However, again, you don't have credibility. You know what my mother says? If you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. So right now, they're accusing you and your husband of stealing. So
Hell no.
I'm a little worried. Anyways, it goes from her talking about her issues with her sister, this gospel duo project. So what happened exactly with the gospel duo project? Because she accused you during the show of stealing? Is that why the gospel project never happened with the two of you?
Where is it?
I have to say this. If I had to, based off what we've seen from all three women that are posting on social media now about all of what's playing out on this Queens of R&B reality show, Latocha, yours was the most pre-produced and most unbelievable, in my opinion. But I'm going to continue because there might be some other thing. I have to say it was well produced. It was funny watching some of what was playing out. It was funny, but did it change my mind on what's been playing out? Let's just cover the rest of this. So, as I said to you before, I'm breaking this down in 3 parts. So the first part, she's talking about her issues with her sister, Tamika, and the money situation that's been playing out. And then in part 2, she's talking about her issues with Kandi. So she says, and here's the thing, Kandi, and this is where I'm going to, because when we talk about the headliner issue from this past week, and you are the sole person talking about the money, I feel like there is some level of truth of what Latocha's saying here in regards to the history of the issues within the group and her accusing Kandi of wanting more money and making that the biggest issue for the group. Look, we don't know. None of us will probably ever get to the truth of what the issues are when it comes to money in this group. But what she says in regards to Kandi, she says in regards to Kandi singing leads, she said, I never said Kandi didn't sing any leads. What I said was that Kandi didn't like that I was singing leads.
Now let's be clear. I never said that she didn't sing lead. I said she had an issue with me singing lead. Did she forget that I was in the studio at Jermaine's house and I come out and I hear all this crying? I come out in the room, and I said, what's going on? And she's standing outside with Jermaine. He's looking vexed and she's looking crazy with tears in her eyes like, oh, hey, Tasha. I'm like, what's going on here? As I look at him, I'm like, something's wrong. And I need to find out what it is. And when I found out, yeah, she was upset about me singing lead. Listen, I ain't never had no problem with her singing lead. Go ahead, girl.
That the blow to my chest would come directly from you. He'll come, he'll come.
But all of you sang leads in the group. Latocha, I don't understand why you would think Kandi would have an issue with you singing leads when that's the great thing about Xscape. All of them sang leads. But she says she recalls an incident where Kandi was crying with Jermaine Dupri, and she was like, oh, I know what it is. She found out later that, oh, she was upset that I was singing leads. There's more to the story. And please trust and believe Kandi will be speaking on it.
Well, speak on it.
I'm sure. And honestly, I'm not doing any more back and forth between, because it's going to be he said, she said at this point. Unless you are dropping actual receipts, the audience really has to determine for themselves who do they believe more, or if they even care to believe anyone here. But like I said, Xscape, unlike, like an SWV or some other groups, Xscape, all of them sang leads. So even the conversation about, oh, Kandi didn't like that I was singing leads, everyone was sort of like, well, I feel like all of you sang leads. No one really, there was not really one voice you didn't hear in this group. On certain songs, possibly. Kandi talked about this on her Speak On It, that at that group meeting at Tiny's, one of Tiny's 5 houses, that there was a back and forth between Kandi and Latocha that was edited out. But as I said before, there are 2 different versions of events. Kandi tells her version of events, and now Latocha's telling her version. And she says that she was calling Kandi out, saying, I've been nothing but supportive to you, and this and that. Kandi talked about this on her Speak On, and she's like, why are we talking about this when we should be talking about management and business and things like that? Kandi, in her Speak On, it felt like she was trying to refocus the conversation from the issues with her sister. Well, Latocha says, well, no, I've been nothing but supportive to you. And now she alleges that Kandi starts crying, and we don't see the scene because it doesn't make Kandi look in the best light. This is what I am digging up from what Latocha's trying to say in this video. She says that cameras stopped rolling because Kandi started crying. And of course, this was edited out. And some of you, and I've seen your comments as well. Look, I've seen all the comments, and please feel free to share your thoughts and your reactions to all of this stuff. I will be citing my sources in the description so you can go watch the video for yourself. But as always, be respectful. I don't care what team you're on. I always tell you be team you, but everyone chooses a team in regards to these things. So I want to hear your thoughts. And I will say this about Latocha. I do believe, especially now that we're looking at the whole headliner conversation with SWV and Xscape, that I do see that there is this issue with Kandi when it comes to the business side of things. And I'm not saying it's an issue, but Kandi wants her money. And she prioritizes her money. And has that caused issues for Xscape? Very possible. This is what happens when you have so many people this is why a lot of groups end up breaking up. So she talks about this scene that we only saw one version of what happened. We didn't see the fight between Kandi and Latocha in that scene. This is what she addresses in her video. And she says, oh, Kandi started crying, and then they shut down the cameras. Okay, I'm going to need to see that scene. Come on, Mona. Come on. We want to see that. So, of course, the other big issue, she does not address at all Unique. Unique, the baby. Again, we have not seen the baby. I have not seen the Tasha K interview in regards to this. I've only seen a preview of what this interview is. But in that interview, Unique is claiming to have had a 5-year relationship with Rocky Bivens, Latocha Scott's husband of almost 30 years. So that's a whole other thing. Again, I haven't seen the baby. I don't know if there is a baby at all. Just saying. But she doesn't address that in here. What she basically says is that that's my man and I'm going to stick beside him. Well, besides that, she does address, well, Rocky's been managing me and helping Xscape for years. She claims that the Great Xscape tour was when they made the most money that they ever made. They made millions. Kandi, please, I know you watch. Please let us know, did you guys really make millions from the Great Xscape tour? Or is that a lie? I don't know. I mean, I don't think Kandi or any of the group will talk about the specifics. But, I mean, Kandi, you're talking about how much SWV makes as headliners. Let's talk about Xscape. Did you guys make millions of dollars from the Great Xscape tour? And if so, good for you guys. All of them. Because R&B acts nowadays, they're making good money, but millions? No. So this is part of the reason I'm like, you guys need to just let go of your personal issues and don't involve Rocky. Rocky can manage Latocha. Don't involve Rocky when it comes to the group's business and negotiating these deals. But it seems like that's part of the reason. Like, no one's able to come to some sort of meeting point in regards to figuring this out. However, Xscape is touring as Xscape 3. Latocha does talk about the Xscape 3 that existed without Kandi and that no one was checking for them because no one was. No one was. She talks about that whole process and how they wanted to have Kandi be a part of it, but Kandi wasn't trying to hear it. She also says that Xscape expected Latocha to pay Rocky as opposed to Xscape paying Rocky for the deals that he was garnering for the group. She does say that Tiny at one point did pay Rocky for his contributions to the group. Again, all of what Latocha's saying here, you're trying to piece together where is the truth because it's not clear. Even in her video, she's making all these allegations and she's posting on things and it's like, okay, there seems to be, a level of truth, but can you give us a little bit more so it makes sense? And that's the difference that we're getting from her own sister, Tamika, and Kandi in her speak on it. It just makes a little bit more sense because they're giving a little bit more information than Latocha. And their videos are not as heavily edited as Latocha's. Latocha's standing there like she's reading a script. As I said before, she says that, yes, she's had some ups and downs with Rocky, but she's not going to tell us what exactly he whispered in her ear. But she makes a joke of what we see and what's love got to do with it.
What are you whispering over there to her, Rocky?
Of course I know the song, Ike. I wrote it.
Latocha, look, at the end of the day, that's your husband. Whatever's going on with your husband, that's your issue. You're going to stick beside him, and that's okay. That's your relationship. I really would love to know what he whispered in your ear because your body completely changed in that moment. Completely changed. To me, it was disturbing. But again, an edited show. It could have been just the way that it was edited.
All right, girl.
But guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to Latocha's own version of Speak On It.
Well, speak on it.
Let's continue this conversation in the comments section. As always, be respectful to each other and to me. I want to know your thoughts on all of it. Who do you believe? As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll ask you. Follow my lead.